Welcome to another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the Almighty B Live, the Money Man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Kool. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. Hey, what's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddy Kool, a.k.a. the HOC, and this is episode number 101 of the Sports Bros Podcast. That's right, we got a 100 out the way, and now we're going to give you another 100 more. But of course, you know I cannot do this by myself. But before I go any further, I want to thank everybody that's been riding with us through this journey. We greatly appreciate it. We appreciate this so much, because if it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here talking sports. But time to get back on track, or as the words of Almighty B Live say, am on track this thing, and I will. Speaking of the devil, introducing first the Almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? We are in the midst of madness, and it's been absolute, utter madness. Crazy, unbelievable. I'm so excited and devastated all at the same time. But it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, because I'm not the only one suffering through this whole bracketology thing, but I'm suffering less than others. And speaking of others, there's this other guy on the podcast that we got to introduce every week. Yeah, sure.
Oh, man, and speaking of that other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, a.k.a. Mr. Eye Candy himself, none other than the Money Man, Scottie D.
Thank God it's episode 101, because 100 was a disaster. I went off on Jim Boeheim, and he's in the Sweet 16. I lost Purdue. I lost Illinois. I lost whoever my other team was. Who was my other team? Texas. I got Gonzaga. So, yeah, I'm one of those guys suffering. I should never have talked so much trash on Jim Boeheim last week. It's coming back to haunt me.
But it was fun.
And what is going on with the Big Ten? Let's just get into this stuff. Eddy Kool, let's drop right on into the big topics of the day, shall we?
All right, we're going to go to the big topics of the day, but before we're going to get to the madness, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, we will get to the madness. But first, the new league year started for the NFL this past week, and guess what? All those trades, like the Jared Goff trade and the Matt Stafford trade, yep, that's official. And any other trades, they're official too. And this is the beginning of the free agency period, or the frenzy, if you will. The New England Patriots, some of the notable signings that they got: Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Matthew Judon, and 1,000 more people. And then the Giants, they signed wide receiver Kenny Golladay, which means he's finally free from Detroit. And AJ Green signs with the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, fellas, I have a question, as I always do. Which team will make an impact with the new signees? Not just the ones I mentioned, but the other teams that you've seen making big moves during the offseason. Scottie D, where you at on this?
I actually think that the AJ Green thing is a sneaky big deal. I think it's a really good deal, because that's giving Kyler Murray another big target. AJ Green's a big guy, big target, and he kind of lost his way, it seemed, the last couple of years in Cincinnati. A little bit of injury problems, but now he doesn't have to be the guy out there, which he has been in Cincinnati, because they got D-Hop out there. I think that is a nice signing for the Cardinals. I think the Kenny Golladay signing is pretty good for the Giants, but I think that AJ Green thing's a pretty big deal for the Cardinals.
What you think, B Live?
Me, I like what's going on, and you're gonna hear this, and you're just gonna blow your mind, because it just doesn't make any sense. But I'm being unbiased right now. I like what's going on in New England. They are making a lot of moves. They're shaking it up, shaking up the foundation. They got a couple of weapons for Cam Newton. I think that is they're making some noise. And but before we continue, let me make sure I got this correct, because I just heard Scottie D just completely just change his whole tone about the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. You just saying just a week or two ago that you don't believe in Kyler Murray, is too short. Now they're making moves, and now gives them another weapon and Which one is it, Scottie D? Let me know what's going on. What's happening with you?
I think it's a big deal for him because he is a short dude that needs a bigger target. I mean, he's running around like a little jackrabbit back there, and now he has another big-time weapon to throw to. He can get it out there and get it up to AJ Green. I think that's good for him, because I don't think he's the prototypical NFL quarterback that can stand in the pocket and go through his reads. I think this helps him a lot, honestly.
Oh, and
backtracking, I still don't think he's that great of a quarterback. He's good, but I said what I said. Go on with your bad self laugh.
He said what he said. I like it. But yeah, New England. I'm definitely the Cardinals. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't believe in the New York Giants. I just don't. Danny Dimes did some magic his first year, but his second year, as compared to his first year, was and they really maybe with the healthy Saquon Barkley, maybe. Kenny Golladay is a big signing. They also splashed the bank with a cornerback signing today. What was my man's name? Those Adery.
Somebody so important that you don't know his name.
I don't know. It was 3 years, $39 million for a cornerback.
Corner, yeah. He was one of the bigger corners on the market.
So the Giants are trying to make a couple of moves. We'll see what Danny Dimes does in year 3. I don't believe in him. I just don't believe in the Giants ever, because they're in the NFC least, so it won't be too hard for them to be in first place considering the other teams that are there.
Poking that bear, I see. Poking that bear, I see.
Yes.
But I'm wearing penguin stuff to get you off me on that topic for today, and it's not working.
No, not at all. Just got to do it. But here's one other thing that I'm sort of just out there with. My beloved Carolina Panthers. They've signed a couple offensive linemen. They signed a linebacker, but they're still making a play for one Deshaun Watson, and
no.
Hot potato, baby, hot potato. If I was Houston, I'd take whatever deal you offer me for Deshaun Watson right now.
Yep, and
hot potato, baby. That situation's hot right now, because no matter what, there's like a dozen girls now coming forward with accusations against this dude. At this point, it doesn't matter if he gets found not guilty 12 times legally. I mean, these aren't even criminal charges. It's all civil charges at this point. It doesn't matter, because Roger Goodell sat down Zeke Elliott for 5 games for stuff that happened before he was even in the NFL because of the behavioral thing. He sat down Roethlisberger over accusations. Deshaun Watson's going to be sitting at some point. This is not a good time to be Deshaun Watson.
You know what, fellas? Here's my thing. I've the past few days, I've been thinking about this whole Deshaun Watson situation, and here's what I've come up with. Believe it or not, I think, and call me crazy. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when it smells like a pile of doo-doo, something just don't sit right. I think this is an act by the Houston Texans to sabotage the value of Deshaun Watson. It's the classic case of, hey, if we can't have you, nobody else will have you. And that's not good. And I don't see the good coming out of this, man. It's just a whole lot going on, and it's just a messy situation. I just don't understand it. Like, I don't. And from the way the Texans have been moving the past few years, DeAndre Hopkins, he gone. Now you have J.J. Watt. They released him. They didn't re-sign Will Fuller, who's got to sit down due to a PED suspension for the first 4 games of the season, but he got signed by the Dolphins, so now it's their problem. So I don't know what the hell's going on in Houston, man. It's a crumble fest down there. I just don't like it, but I got a feeling that this might be an effort by the organization to sully his value. I always thought that, hey, if you don't want to be here, then let me help you get up out of here. Let me not, force you to stay. But it's kind of like, hey, we're going to force you to stay situation, and we're going to push you through the ringer. Hell or high water, opening day, you will be number 4 for the Houston Texans. And that's crazy, fellas. Crazy.
I'm going to say this. And I refuse to give this boneheaded lawyer any type of press on this podcast. I'm not going to mention his name, but he should be thrown in jail, and his freaking license should be stripped and revoked. He should never be able to practice law again, because all of this is unmerited. Not one criminal case, all civil, based off of what? Hearsay? Literal hearsay. There's absolutely no facts. There's no evidence. It's just hearsay. And the fact that this guy has been given so much press and so much time is criminal. It's absolutely criminal. Like, in the fact that you can sleep at night just trying to find a way to get your name out there, and hard-earned money. Like, you know what, bro? This is who announces a civil case on Instagram? When do they do? Who does business like that?
Where they do that at?
I'm just like, I get there's certain platforms that, like us here, the Sports Bros Podcast, we have an Instagram page, and we do conduct business on Instagram, because that's something completely different. We're actually getting sports out there, and every now and again I might come up with a funny meme, you know what I'm saying? Hashtag BeLive memes, you know what I'm saying? That's what we do. What happened memes, I got a couple of hashtags out there, but that's because we're a sports production company. We give out videos, pictures, and stuff like that. That's how we conduct business. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You're a lawyer.
Do better, baby. You gotta do better.
Just unbelievable. That's why this has absolutely no merit. Scottie D, I will be so done almost to the point with the NFL if they. I get what you're saying when it comes to Zeke and what he went through and a couple other players and whatnot, but there is no merit to this. And I hope at the end of the day that all comes out in the wash. And here's the thing. I'm going to tell you right now, if Deshaun Watson is guilty of any of these things, hey, punish him. Absolutely. But just off of hearsay.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean,
I'm sorry.
I want this stuff to be, BS, but I mean, I have no idea if it is or is not. I mean, it seems like we have to find a lot more out before being able to pass judgment one way or the other. This is tough, because suddenly it's like there's first one comes out and he says, I'm not gonna settle. I'm not gonna settle out of court for this. I want to clear my name. And then there's 11 more right behind her. That's, I don't know, man. That's
what, you know what? I'm going to say, the latest article I read was a claim from actually this month, where one girl said that she's never massaged before and thought this, what do you mean you've never massaged before, but you know what? Wow.
So
it's a crazy story, man. There's a lot more to unpack on that story.
So it sounds like we're just like this. If this girl's saying that's not happening, so now we're just grabbing at straws. But fellas, before we get too carried away in this whole Deshaun Watson and NFL mess, and the words of the Almighty be live, I'm gonna take the train and toss it back on the track. But guess what? We're here to talk about the madness that is March Madness and this here tournament. Fellas, we start off with the playing games. We went from 68 on to 64. And we got some games going on right now in the field of 32. And next thing you know, it'll be the Sweet 16 of these here NCAA tournament. I don't want to call it the playoffs, but you get it. The big dance, March Madness. And the question that I pose to you fellas, what are your thoughts on the tournament this far? I'll start with you first, Be Live.
This tournament right here could easily go down as one of the greatest in history, just because of how much we've had to endure in the past year. All of us, our entire lives have been tossed upside down. And like all the factors that go into play, like kudos to the NCAA, and you'll never ever hear me say that again because I think it's a trash organization. But kudos to them for at least organizing March Madness and in one city, bubble, et cetera. So all the things that they finally got right in just life. Because I was really getting to the point of what is the purpose of the NCAA. But everything that's going on, and I love I love more than anything that these double-digit ranked teams and everything, like some of the storylines. Abilene Christian, Oral Roberts, 15 seed, is now in the Sweet 16. Oregon State is in the Sweet 16. Syracuse is in the Sweet 16. Let me say it one more time just to poke the bear. Syracuse, the Orange, are in the Sweet 16. UCLA they played an extra game in the Sweet 16 as an 11 seed. It is a wonderful, 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 wonderful day in basketball. And it's a horrible day for brackets.
Yeah.
Horrible, but dang. And I'm gonna update everybody in a little bit. I want to hear what Scottie D has to say about this tournament, and I'm gonna update everybody on the Sports Bros madness that those.
No, you don't have to do that.
Yes,
nobody
I do.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Yes,
no.
I do. Yep. I got to do it.
Yeah, you got the doing. You got the doing.
I don't think our listeners will be interested in that this year, but to me, I'm wondering what the heck is going on with the Big Ten, and it actually, the Pac-12 is one that's coming out looking good here, and you got to start with the actual first game with UCLA knocking out Michigan State just to be officially into that first round. I heard Jay Billis say on the Four Letter Network on Monday morning that it was up to Iowa to carry the flag for the Big Ten, and they got smoked by Oregon on Monday afternoon. I mean, it is not going well for the Big Ten.
I had Iowa winning it all in one of my brackets in a championship game in the other bracket. And that is just, oh my God. 3 of their starters scored 0 points against Oregon. 0. Their starters. 3. You have 5 starters. 3 of them scored 0. Luka Garza can't do it all. Iowa, oh my God.
What did he score? 36?
36.
Yeah,
good
36 points. Yeah, killed it.
But let me say this, because this is the one caveat about this year's March Madness. Oregon had a bye week.
They did.
Oregon had one less game to play when they went against number 2 ranked Iowa. And I'm sticking to it like it really matters how much I can actually talk about it. But then again, my bracket is still looking better than some of the other people in Sports Bros Madness. I'm currently sitting in first place, where Eddy Kool's in second, tied for 4th because I'm also tied for second with my second bracket, but that was the one I had Iowa winning, so I'm just going to throw that away because it's horrible. Rodney and the Money Man, they're tied for fourth. Terrible Pete Talansky is in sixth place. And then you have Scotty Heineman and Mr. Marcus 81 tied for seventh. Mr. Marcus 81 had North Carolina winning it all, and they lost in the first round. Yeah. But that is your updated.
How about Georgetown? You were really big on them last week.
That's not necessary.
How are they doing? Last week you were talking about them being your big sleeper and how well they were doing, riding the momentum from the Big East, and you are what you're not going to do is disrespect Patrick Ewing. I didn't see what happened with Georgetown, so give me an update on how that was going.
Yeah, they lost by 20, gave up 90 plus points. They played absolutely no defense. But hey, I did pick Abilene Christian to win in the first round. Yes, I did. Number 14 seed in the middle of BFE, Texas. I tell you, you try to point out Abilene on a map, I bet you can't find it. But
is it in Houston?
Not even close.
Oh,
it's literally almost like dead center. It's off of I-20. It's 150 miles west of Fort Worth, Texas.
Off of I-20, just like he was just cruising up that highway the other day. Listen to you.
Okay, hey, Wikipedia is something else. I'm trying to. Hey, you got to do your research.
You know where it is. It's right off I-20. Just out by Fort Worth area.
Yeah, just over there somewhere by the DFW.
But you got to think of it this way. They got to think of it this way. At least like it's Oral Roberts is representing Oklahoma because Oklahoma ain't representing Oklahoma. Oral Roberts is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, by the way, just to let you know. I see you got to do your research when you come for them. But man, I really like, then of course, another great story, Loyola Chicago. What the I can't remember her name. What, she's like 100
Sister Jean or something?
Yeah, like 104 years old, made the trip to Indianapolis with the team, and just wow, just stories like that. That's what makes it madness and makes it absolutely beautiful.
It makes it fun. Yeah, it makes it fun, man. Those are the kind of things that make this tournament fantastic. I always say this is the best sporting event going, and it's living up to it this year, man. It is, despite the limited amount of fans. I think it's like families in the stands, which is nice because you still have some of the live crowd reactions, and they're pulling for each other. I like that, man. It's making it nice to have at least some people up there rooting for him. But yeah, man, I mean, we're seeing a lot of underdogs. We'll see how it shakes out in the second weekend, because I've said this before, underdogs winning doesn't always translate to a good, deep part of the tournament. It's fun to watch an underdog win early, but then, sometimes they run out of steam and you get bad basketball going forward. But there's still some big teams left in it. As we're recording, Michigan has crawled out of the hole and have a 1-point lead over LSU at halftime. That's like the Big Ten's big hope right now is Michigan. But Gonzaga has looked good in their couple games. I mean, everyone and their mother was picking them to win it. And I said last week, I didn't see enough Gonzaga this year to say that's a bad choice. So I picked them. I just went with it. And what I've seen is a dude with a crazy mustache and a really good team.
Yeah, Gonzaga's a really good team, man. Because I think from what somebody told me, they during the season, they've averaged 90 points a game. They've literally been blowing people out of the gym all year long. And if this is the year for the Zags, then this needs to be the year. No excuses. You over here blowing people out the gym, scoring 90 points a game. Because think about it, you only have 2 halves in college basketball, the first half and the second half. And if you're over here scoring 90 points, then there should be no reason that why you should not win the whole damn thing. But yeah, Loyola Chicago, that's another great story as well. Cameron Krutwig. Yes, Cameron Krutwig. He looks like Walter from the WWE. Yeah, with a mustache and a flat top. And I watched them earlier this year. Was it during their conference tournament or whatever it was? And they played Drake. I think Drake had like lost one game at that point. And they gave Drake all they can handle. That is a very tough, they play fundamentally sound team basketball. And I think, as we said like last week, that gap between the major colleges and the mid majors is really slowly. I mean, if you ask me, each year it's just starting to shrink more and more and more. Think about it.
No question.
They beat the number 1 seed Illinois yesterday. Yeah, and they played Illinois tough the entire game. I watched the entire game. They played them tough the entire game. Illinois didn't know what to do. They're two studs. It took them forever to get started, and when they got started, it was a little too late. But yeah, they might make a run. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in the Elite Eight. Would not be surprised. Wouldn't be see them.
Nothing surprises me at this point. Nothing would surprise me.
I'm gonna go ahead and apologize on the air real quick because I did not believe in Gonzaga. I did not believe in the West Coast Conference. I really couldn't name a second team in the West Coast Conference. Maybe San Diego State. Maybe, I'm not sure. But the 2 games I've seen Gonzaga play in this tournament, they have made short, quick work. It has not been close. And as the other big teams fall, Gonzaga just might do it. We still got plenty of basketball to go. It's madness, baby. Yes, sir.
It is madness, baby. And that's, you know what, it's the most wonderful time of year. Think about it, fellas. We went last year with no March Madness, none whatsoever. But guess what? We back now. We back. And Virginia not back neither. You know, they got bounced in the first round as well, too. So
yeah.
So the last
defending champion.
the last 3 tournaments for Virginia, bounced in the first round, national champion, bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
They go from one extreme to the other. They'll win it again.
Might want to take them in 2022, baby. Early favorite.
Yeah, you just might. If that's the pattern, bounce out the first round, win it all, and then the asterisk abbreviated year, and then get bounced again. Like, it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. So, fellas, this tournament's going good. I thought my brackets were busted, but they weren't. I'm glad they weren't busted because I'm over here like, I do these brackets and I'll never win nothing. But from the looks of it, it's been holding pretty strong. So Michigan, yes, I know these folks in Ohio gonna give me a hell, but Michigan, let's hey, that's why I picked the win. So let's make this happen. All right, let's make this happen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a new segment on this here Sports Bros podcast, and we're going to let Scottie D tell us what it's all about. From the mind of the money man, Scottie D, what you got for us?
All right, we're going to do this. We'll do this every once in a while from time to time. We're going to call this segment I Call B.S. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give these guys 4 different statements regarding the March Madness NCAA tournament, and one of those statements is going to be BS. 3 of these are going to be actual facts, and I'm going to let you guys decide which one you think BS is. So here we are. Statement number one. Number 1, in 2013, the first number 15 seed in tournament history advanced to the Sweet 16. That team was Florida Gulf Coast. That's number 1. Number 2, in 2011, Butler defeated the only first 4 team to ever advance to the Final Four. That team was Gonzaga. Number 3, and I'll repeat these again for you so don't feel like you're under pressure to memorize them. Number 3, in 1976, that was the last time a team went undefeated and won the national championship. That team was the Indiana Hoosiers, 1976. And number 4, the team who has earned the most NCAA tournament appearances without going to the Final Four in the tournament was in the tournament again this year, and that team is BYU. Let me repeat these for you again here. In 2013, the first 15 seed in tournament history made the Sweet 16. That was Florida Gulf Coast University. True or untrue? Number 2, in 2011, Butler defeated the only first 4 team to ever advance to the Final Four. That team was Gonzaga. Number 3, in 1976, that was the last time a team went undefeated and won the national championship. That team was Indiana. And number 4, the team who has earned the most NCAA tournament appearances with 30 without reaching a Final Four was also in the tournament again this year, and that team is BYU. Which one of those do you call BS on there, guys?
I can't imagine Gonzaga in their first 4. Like, I know that I just can't. They've been Cinderella for a while. Now they're far from Cinderella now. But you said 2000. I call BS. I call BS on Gonzaga. I call BS.
Yeah, I call BS on that one too, because Gonzaga has been very good for a very long time, and the term Gonzaga and playing game is like oil and water, don't mix. So that's BS.
In 2011, Butler defeated the only first 4 team to ever advance to the Final Four. That team was VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Butler was an 8 seed. And the highest seed I think was Kentucky that year, and they were a 4 seed. So 1, 2, and 3 were out that year. VCU had a heck of a run. If you remember, that was that put them on the map. That was an exciting run they had. And that started from the first 4 to the Final 4.
Yep, and part of that helped. What's his name? Shaka Smart.
Yeah.
That's
Shaka's team. Eventually, I think he stayed there another year or 2 before taking the job at Texas, but that was what put them on the map. That was a heck of a run. But yeah, Florida Gulf Coast went to the Sweet 16 as a 15 seed. That was in 2013. I think they beat Georgetown in one of those first two rounds, if I'm not mistaken. Indiana, the last undefeated team, and Gonzaga trying to break that streak this year. So that was kind of the easy one to rule out. And then BYU, never been to the Final Four. 30 appearances, never been to the Final Four. Good job, guys. I'm impressed. For our first segment, you guys called BS on the correct one.
Yes.
Roses really smell like boo. Outcast, please don't sue us. If anything, we owe you for the memories that you brought upon us. And that was the first ever installment edition of
I call BS.
I call BS. But you know what, fellas? You know what we're not going to call BS on?
What is that? What is that?
I'm glad you asked. We're not going to call BS on our favorite segment of the show, the choice of the voices, because we love it. This is what we do. 101 episodes in. So without any further ado, hey, yo, button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion of the show. Man, you guessed it, 101 episodes in, and it's still the choices of the voices. Where Scottie D asks a question, you give us the answer, and we talk about it a little bit, then we pick at you, but it's all in good fun. And with that being said, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
I asked the listeners to tell us about some of their favorite March Madness memories, and I didn't limit to anything specific. I said storylines, famous shot, games, whatever, big moments, and must have had a little static coming through because we didn't have a whole lot of creativity this week, but we did get a couple good answers. And Eddy Kool, let's see what we got here. Run them off for us, if you would.
All right, let's get it. Choices of the voices on the 101. So here we go. We got the Hall of Famer himself of the Sports Bros podcast, Uncle Max, and he says, I watched this game with who was once my father-in-law, which means he ain't no more. Duke versus Kentucky in the 1992 for the Eastern Regional. With 2.1 seconds left, Grant Hill inbounds the ball to Christian Laettner down the court to achieve a last-second victory against Kentucky. That shot, it was the greatest college basketball game I've ever witnessed. My father-in-law was rooting for Duke, and I was rooting for Kentucky. We had a dollar bet on the game, and he didn't let me live it down for quite some time. That's a pretty good moment.
Maybe a lot of people consider that to be like the greatest college basketball game of all time, at least tournament-wise. I remember I had fallen asleep and missed the entire first half and watched it coming down the stretch. And I liked Kentucky. I was personally a fan of that team, and it kind of made me sick because, like everyone else, I was hating on Christian Laettner. But incredible shot, incredible game.
Yeah, Kentucky had a bunch of like what during the 90s, Kentucky had a lot of their teams were loaded. And I think that was before like the whole one and done thing kicked in. Like back in the 90s, like I said, you had Mark Pope, Tony Delk, Jamal Mashburn at one point.
Mashburn might have been on that team. I can't swear to it, but he was right around that time.
Yeah, that team was fully loaded, 100%. All right, moving right along. We got Joel Turner. He says, I miss my main man, Jimmy V. And my Wolfpack has not been worth a damn since he was forced out. So he just said he just misses the Wolfpack. Yep, misses the Wolfpack. Yeah, Jimmy V was a coach during the 80s, right?
Yeah, and had that famous scene where he was running around the court trying to find one of his players to hug, and they were all hugging each other. And it was a classic shot.
Running around here like, somebody give me a hug. Somebody give me a hug. I need to hug somebody. Hey, come here. You give me a hug somebody. Yeah, R.I.P. to the legendary, the great Jimmy V. Jim Valvano. All right, Chris Phillips, he said Mario Chalmers hitting that three-pointer to beat Memphis was awesome. Yeah, that's when Mario Chalmers was at the University of Kansas, and they played the Memphis Tigers, which had Derrick Rose in that team, correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Calipari was coaching that team.
Well, hell, it don't matter. The wins got vacated any damn way. So, yeah, it don't make a damn bit of difference. That's another good one. All right, we got Craig Burns. He said, I'd have to say that the way the Patriots are spending in free agency this year is my most memorable March Madness moment.
Reeks of desperation, the free agency spending. Anyway, back to basketball.
D-Live is just
box. You knew better than that. You knew better than that. I talked about that earlier in the show, and then come to find out you talking about it in the wrong part because it wasn't the question. No, stop it. Do better. Penalty box.
All right. All right, here we go. We got Dave Ramito. He said Pitt versus Vandy, 1988, but he's joking about it though, and I think that's a shot at you, Scottie D. Yeah, jug, jab, jab. He had to get you.
Yeah, they lost. I think Pitt had that was a team that had Jerome Lane and Charles Smith was really good, and I think this was a second round game, and Pitt was leading, and there was a 3-pointer thrown up to tie them at the buzzer, and then Pitt lost in overtime. I'm pretty sure that's the way that went, but that's why I think I responded by saying that was a bad joke. But Dave Ramito also was a Pittsburgh guy, so he remembered that one. But I'm pretty sure that's how that went because I remember my heart being broken back then. And I'm pretty sure that was the game that did it, where Pitt choked on their opportunity with a team that was really good, a team that a lot penciled in. A lot of people penciled them into the Final Four, but never happened.
Yep, that's when Vanderbilt had teams worth a damn. Now, not so much. All right, and that's it for our listeners. It's time to ask the sports bros, us, what was our most memorable moments in college basketball, including March Madness. So I'll go first this time. Well, my answer, I remember, B-Live, I don't know if you remember, we were Buffalo Wild Wings. I think the year was 2005. And it was a 2004-2005 national championship. UNC versus the Fighting Illini, the University of Illinois, right? So it was the national championship game, of course, and it was a battle of two number one seeds, right? Throughout the season, Illinois was running through everybody. They ran roughshod through the competition. In the polls, they were ranked number 1 at 37-1. And North Carolina was number 2 at 32-4. Man, UNC had Raymond Felton, Marvin Williams, Rashad McCants, loaded. That team was fully loaded, and if they didn't win it all, it was all on them. And they were coached by Roy Williams as well too. Illinois had a guy. They had D. Brown, Luther Head, and a guy that went on to be pretty good in the NBA by the name of Darren Williams. Yeah, Darren Williams. It was a slugfest in the beginning. It was going back and forth, and then right before halftime, UNC went on like an 8-0 run to come back to the second half, and Illinois, Luther Head just kept on shooting them threes and try to get them back into the game. But by that point, it was too little, too late, and they win the national championship, University of North Carolina, 75-70. And Sean May was named the Final Four MVP. Yep. So that was a game I was like, this is pretty doggone good. You know, yes, I was about 4 or 5 beers in, but the game wound up being pretty doggone good. Scottie D, what you got?
Well, a couple of years ago when we started this, you might remember that I mentioned the 1990 run with Loyola Marymount after Hank Gathers had passed away, and they got super hot, and Bo Kimball shooting the left-handed free throw in his honor. One of those teams they beat along the way was Michigan, who was the defending champion, and they ran them off the floor. Ultimately, they would lose to UNLV, who would win the national championship there. That UNLV team was obviously incredible. But, you know, there was that memory of Michigan, the defending champion, and the year before, Michigan won the national championship, beating Seton Hall in overtime. And I can remember watching that game, and Ramil Robinson got sent to the free throw line with no time left on the clock, down 2. He had to make both free throws to get to overtime, and he did. And they would beat Seton Hall for the national championship. And then one more time with Michigan, I put it on our picture, was the North Carolina-Michigan game where Chris Webber called the timeout. And Chris Webber, you know, I think we talked about this before as well, how he made the best of that really bad situation. He established the timeout foundation and obviously had a great NBA career, but it still always bothers me when he brought that rebound down and everyone says, oh, it looks like he traveled. But why didn't Jalen Rose go get the ball from him right away? That one always bothered me. I was like, he's the point guard. It's the biggest situation possibly right now. You don't have any timeouts. You need your best ball handler to get the ball. Go get it, Jalen, but he didn't. And I know it happened real fast, blah, blah, blah. But those are some super memorable moments to me. And 3 times Michigan was involved in those from the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. B-Live, what you got?
Well, as a lot of people probably know, I grew up a North Carolina basketball fan. I've since converted over to be just Clemson across the board because I caught some flack. But I will still always have a little piece of my heart right here for North Carolina basketball. And Eddy Kool alluded to North Carolina winning it. I'm actually going to allude to one time they lost it in devastating fashion. Guys, this is very recent, though. You guys remember the 2016 national championship?
Villanova Wildcats?
Yeah.
Oh, I was sick.
Yeah, that's the other picture I have on the
Facebook. I was sick. I was sick.
I'm just telling you, like, just the up and down. Like, North Carolina was down by 10 points with 4 minutes plus a little over 4 minutes to go. And just North Carolina clawed their way back. And for them to tie the game with 4.7 seconds left. And
on a crazy shot too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh, off balance, ridiculous. And the whole place lit up. Like it was, did that really just happen? It was by Marcus Page that tied the game up. But then Villanova, no timeouts, drove the ball down 4.7 seconds ago. And it's not a moving pick, but it was basically where you had a guy trailing right behind the ball handler, and the ball handler handed it right back to him for a deep 3-pointer that just hit bottom, and you saw 0.0 on the clock for Villanova to win it at the buzzer by 3 points. it was just the excitement. It tore a hole in my heart. It just, God, to be so close to fight so hard for it to come down like that. But kudos to Villanova, and that's what makes Madness beautiful, gut-wrenching, all at the same time. It's one of those things. You could not have hit a bigger shot. I think the only other bigger shot I've seen, and like it's just through history, was it an alley-oop by Houston, was it? Or not even an alley-oop, but it was the shot was short.
That was the NC State game. That was the Valvano game.
NC State, yep.
So, but yeah, like, again, that's a close second to me. But yeah, that Villanova buzzer beater, man, wow.
There was a shot similar, not the same, not similar as far as the range, but as far as winning a national championship, that it was Keith Smart, I believe, that hit it for Indiana over Syracuse in the 87, I think it was the 87 finals. And that Syracuse team had Ronnie Cycli, and I think Derek Coleman may have been a freshman on the team. Don't quote me on that, but it was a really good Syracuse team. And Indiana had Steve Alford was their go-to guy, and he was incredible. But it was Keith Smart, who I think was a freshman when we hit that game-winning shot to give Indiana and Bobby Knight their last championship. Haven't had one since.
There's also one. Oh my God! It just hit me. It was during the women's national championship. I want to say it was Notre Dame and Mississippi State.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, and the shot literally came. It was the last shot of the game. It was a corner three. I was like, oh man, she put it up. Like, I was like, literally like hanging on my couch. I don't care about no Mississippi State. I could care less about Notre Dame. But that moment right there, I'm like, wow. And this is a women's college basketball game. So I'm looking. I'm like, oh, she finna throw up a prayer, and it falls and it sinks. And next thing you know, Notre Dame wins the national championship. And I was like, and then just like B-Live said, the madness.
And I think that same girl had hit another buzzer beater earlier in the tournament, right?
Yeah. I want to say it was back-to-back games.
Yeah, I think so too.
I really want to say it was back-to-back games she did that. And incredible. Yeah, I remember that. And I was like, yo.
What's the last? I think it's Ogunbowale, something like that. But Ogunbowale. Yeah, I was like, are you serious? Yeah, she did it back, cold as ice, back-to-back games, baby. Yeah. So I was sitting thinking, I was like, there's another one too. And I just remember plain as day, she hit that 3-pointer, and that was it. All right, gentlemen. With that being said, B-Live gave yours, Scottie D, you gave yours, and I gave you 2 for the price of 1. And with that being said, shout out to Uncle Max, Joel Turner, Chris Phillips, Craig Burns, and David Romito for their participation in this week's Choices of the Voices. Fellas, guess who's out of Facebook jail?
Matty Ice, welcome back.
Yep.
Free Matty Ice. Free Matty Ice. Yes.
And the funny thing about it was, I was looking on Facebook and he commented. I was like, oh, he's back. Matty Ice,
welcome back.
Matty Ice, we're waiting for you, baby. We ain't forget about you. We ain't forget about you none whatsoever. So you need to do what some of these kids do and make a backup Facebook profile just in case you get suspended like you did. So that way you won't miss nothing. Don't ask me how I know. Just trust me. I know what I'm talking about. And Scottie D, with that being said, what's the question for next week's Choices of the Voices?
All right, we're going to go one more time with March Madness here. What March Madness star from the years past were you most disappointed in when it came to their NBA career? Now, sometimes we never even hear these guys, so you get to the Final Four, and you're saying, man, that guy's going to be a great NBA player. Actually, I'll give you an example of one that went the opposite way. In 2003, as a big Pitt fan, Pitt had kind of had a resurgence in their program and ran into Marquette and a young guy who I'd never heard of by the name of Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade just cooked Pitt that night. He had 20 points in the second half and cooked them, and obviously went on to a Hall of Fame career. But that doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes you have a Ramil Robinson who projects you, hits your free throws, takes you to the national championship, then loses to Loyola Marymount and has a disappointing NBA career. So we're looking for situations like that. Someone that catches your eye during the March Madness tournament and you think, man, this person's going to be really good. This is going to be an awesome NBA player, and then fizzles. So give us one of those. Come up with somebody for that. Get creative. Let's hear what you got here. That's our topic next week, guys, for Choices of the Voices.
All right. And with that being said, there's been another edition of the Choices of the Voices.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you heard the woman. It's time for us to get the hell up out of here. But before we go, it's time for a round of pepper. That's right. You heard the woman say she ain't got no reason to lie, none whatsoever. You know how we do it here at Pepper. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. We're here to enlighten, educate, and we're going to see how bad that the Almighty Be Live can get on Scott's nerves. All right. And with that being said, I'll go first. Now, earlier we were talking about the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. That's right, the Ramblers. And on this day in history, back in 1963, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers defeat the Cincinnati Bearcats 60-58 in overtime. A whole lot of 3 points being shot back then. Yep, they defeat them in overtime as the Ramblers win their first national championship in their first appearance. Can Cameron Krutwig and the crew do it again this year? We shall see. Over to you, Scottie D.
Go Ramblers. All right, guys. A legendary athlete retired last week. Some people say it wasn't a sport, a real sport that he retired from, but we had to say goodbye to a legend. That's right. Slappy Slap-Ass retired from horseshoes last week. It's not a real sport. I would never talk about something not a real sport like horseshoes or bowling or darts or anything like that. So I'm just going to talk about the fact that LeBron James sprained his ankle. Him and AD are both going to be out for a while. No big deal. We'll see you in the finals. Be Live, over to you.
That was an interesting way to start off that segment, and then to come with something that the entire world already knew when it came to Pepper. But thanks for the update there, Scooter. Anyway, since he wants to lead off that way, I'll just go ahead and dive into my first Pepper point, honoring a legend in my preferred sport of choice, and that is bowling.
I thought you were deadly with it from 3-point range. I thought.
That was 20 some odd years ago.
Okay.
I'm not as much of an athlete now, but yes, it does take quite a bit of athleticism, despite popular belief, in the sport of bowling, especially when it comes to endurance, because the amount of games you have to bowl in a given week just to get to what you see on TV. People only see the 4 or 5 games possible with the stepladder. That's all what people see. They don't see the 32, 36, 42 game qualifiers just to get to that point. But you try bowling 42 games in 3 days and see how well you do. Anyway,
I'm gonna need a new shoulder if that's the case.
Right. But this goes out to PDW, Mr. Pete Weber. Who do you think you are? I am.
That was weird. He was weird for saying stuff like that.
Exactly.
He's goofy. What a goof. He was a big goof.
And we loved him for it, or you hated him for it, because he did catch a lot of flack from a lot of different personalities because he was brash. But this past week, PDW decided to call it a career after 41 years of bowling. All he did is won 37 titles on the PBA Tour, 10 major championships, another 11 titles on the PBA 50 Tour. And he's one of 2 people in the history of PBA to have amassed over 100 total PBA titles, him and the likes of Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Another legend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish you would disrespect.
I have a signed autograph picture of me and him. I'm holding up my multicolored bowling shoes. You'll see.
This guy is off the chain. I tell you what. But yes, PDW, thank you for everything that you brought to the sport of bowling. We salute you, and best of your next journey and everything that you do. Yes, sir. Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right, and I get the ball back. All right, my second pepper point, we're going to be talking about the New Orleans Saints, the division rival of me and B-Live's beloved Carolina Panthers. Now, during the regular season, the New Orleans Saints had a problem. They were violating the COVID-19 protocols placed by the NFL. And through the season, they got fined. Now, of course, during week 2, Sean Payton and the organization was fined $250,000 and $100,000 respectively for failure to wear a face mask when they played against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then in week 9, they were fined $500,000 for a massive celebration in the locker room and a forfeiture of a future 7th round draft pick. Well, recently, as of a few days ago, there was some more handed out to the Saints to the tune of surrendering a 6th round draft pick in 2022 and also a $700,000 fine. So let's do some math. Well, that's a whole lot of money. Yeah. You know, do the little quick mental math. 7.5 carry the 2, put the 6 over here, multiply that by 3, and put your percentage point over there. Yeah, that's a whole lot of money for not wearing your mask. But hopefully everybody will learn. If you don't wear a mask, here comes Roger Goodell, pow, the sheriff, and he will get you. Over to you, Scottie D.
Come on, Saints. Pay attention to what's going on.
Do better, baby.
Do better. All right. Recently on the 4-Letter Network, we're showing a couple replays from a 50-year-old fight between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. It's been 50 years since their first fight. And guys, I just wanted to put over the fact that these dudes were punishing each other for 15 rounds. Nobody does that anymore. It's 12 rounds now. These guys fought 3 times. Ali won the second 2, but Joe Frazier won that first one where they were just out there just tearing each other apart. To me, it's still, when we watch heavyweight fights these days, they don't get to 12 rounds half the time because these guys are slow and lumbering and knocking each other out. But these guys went 15 rounds, I think, every time. I think the third fight, they stopped it in the 15th round. But man, those fights between those guys just pummeling each other was legendary, and it impacted their lives. Really, it really like affected them for the rest of their lives. So just wanted to say happy 50th anniversary to Ali Frazier 1. Be live. Over to you.
Much respect to Ali Frazier. Those fights, they solidified and pretty much defined the boxing sport and in its purest form. Speaking of boxing, there's been a little bit of talk going on between one Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson, and this is off of the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight. And Evander Holyfield and his team say that Mike Tyson turned down a $25 million guarantee to fight Holyfield on Memorial Day weekend. Tyson says, and I'm pretty sure there's more facts or whatever to it. Tyson says pretty much you remember that the Mike Tyson Roy Jones Jr. fight was on Triller?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyson wrote on Instagram, just to be clear, there is no Tyson with Triller fight. I don't know any Triller executives personally. I don't have a deal with Triller or any head executive representing them for the next event. And he says, I'm a partner in Legends Only League, and my next event is with my league. So hey, they said it's got to be a little bit more than money to it. Would y'all want to see Holyfield Tyson 3 at their age right now?
I would not. And my guess is that Tyson, maybe, it's Memorial Day weekend. He's going to be barbecuing. He doesn't have an appetite for ear. He's going to be cooking barbecue that week. That's the only thing I can figure. Pass it on 25 million. I don't know. I hope it never happens, dude. I don't want to see this mess. Yeah. Would you?
No, I really don't. But yeah, with that being said, Eddy Kool, the ball.
All right. My third and final pepper point for the first time in the history of the Sports Bros podcast will not be sports related, but you might want to stick around for this one. Okay. Now, in 2019, I graduated with my college degree from the Ashford University, which is now known as the University of Arizona online campus. So I went from being I think it was a Crusader, whatever it was, to a Wildcat. Wow. So anyways, I've written a lot of papers, talked to a lot of people, written a lot of discussions. I've done a lot, and I know about correct grammar. So this pepper point is about correct grammar, okay? In public forums. Listen to me clearly. So this past weekend, I had some interactions on a Facebook light page of a certain professional sports team, which I'm not going to mention the name, is just listen to this. So they were talking about a signing of a wide receiver, right? And so the top comment goes just as follows. What? They good. He make rookie of games for real dude. And so we over trying to figure out what's going on and really try to decipher everything. Okay.
Say that again.
Okay.
Again.
I'll say it again. What? They good. He make rookie of games for real dude. Okay, so it gets better. And so we're making gifts and memes trying to figure out what in the hell is going on. And somebody put a Dave Chappelle gift that said, huh. And he said, huh, but English, some can this be fixed? Wait a minute. It gets better.
I got to get on this board, man. I got to get this group.
This person then goes to say, I mean, player. He good for games. Were WR for wide receiver. Have been catching up. You think, and then does this. And then somebody said, hey, man, you speak much English? And I just flat out told him, I said, look, Grammarly, because I can't understand the words you're saying. So here's the deal. All right, so here's the deal. Whenever you get online, right, whatever kind of phone you got, I'm pretty sure that it has spell check. All right. I still have my Grammarly account as to where if I make grammatical errors, they'll fix it. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to be perfect, but if you want to be understood on public forums, learn how to spell. And you got people out there, they talk shorthand. It's like, hey, we don't understand all that. Like I said, I've spent many nights writing papers, many days reading content and material. And for the Sports Bros podcast, whenever I post the description, I use Grammarly. I still have that from school. And let me tell you something, Grammarly is free. So if you want, and I'm a journalism and mass communications major with a minor in communication studies. If you want to be understood, make sure what you said is being clear. Not no, this what? This is who that said no. And if you ever text me, if you text me shorthand and wonder why I don't text you back, because I'm not trying to read this mess. I don't have time for it. So in the words of Scottie D, do better.
Do better, baby.
Complete full sentences. They teach you this in school.
I gotta put this out there because I'm piggyback off this real quick, Scotty. My bad. But WOMAN, woman, is singular. WOMEN is plural. How do you mess that up? I'm sorry. I can't deal with it anymore. Next person that does it, I'm calling them out on Facebook. They're going to be mad at me. I just, there's other things that I could go on, but woman is one. Women is more than one. How do you not know that? I'm sorry.
And some of you need a refresher course on there, and there as well. They are THEY''RE there. That's anyway. All right.
Like I said, I understand creative freedom and everything, but when you're in public forums and trying to get anybody to understand what the hell you're saying, no shorthand, use Grammarly. I'm pretty sure your phone got spell checked. Use these resources. I got a whole college degree downstairs. Okay, you want to know how I got that? It was by using correct and proper grammar. I'm not Mr. Perfect, but you know what? Do better. Over to you, Scottie D. I'm sweating.
Well said. Well said, Eddy Kool. Well said. And but I next. What? All right. All right. Here we go. My third and final point.
Oh.
My third and final pepper point of the week. I was going to do another topic on the fight game, and that was UFC this past weekend. I was super excited to watch Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland. If you guys remember last week, I was talking about how Kevin Holland's a lot of fun to watch because he's talking while he's in the ring. And I said, he's the one guy I don't want to see fight again in front of fans because you won't be able to hear him. Well, this dude never shut up during a fight the other night. He actually talked his way into a loss because that's all he did. Very disappointing. Dana White and Khabib Nurmagomedov were sitting at ringside, cage side, whatever. And while this man's on his back, he's talking to Khabib, asking for advice on how to get out of the situation and that kind of stuff. It was actually sad. Dana White compared it to a meltdown likes of Oliver McCall, who I don't know if you remember years ago, actually broke down and crying in a championship fight against Lennox Lewis and quit fighting. Well, this was a little bit different, but Dana White was comparing this to a breakdown. This guy just wasn't able to handle being in the main event of a UFC fight. Derek Brunson said, I don't think that was it because this dude never shuts up anyway, and he was being stupid, and I just won. And that was true. And Derek Brunson's he wants to fight Paulo Costa, which would be another really good fight. But Kevin Holland, man, you're too talented to go out there and try to do stand-up comedy instead of fighting. Get mean, get mad, and go win some fights, brother. Because I tell you what I saw of this guy in 2020, he won 5 fights. He was very entertaining and tough, and it was a sad clown show on Saturday night. So I'm disappointed in that. We got Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic, part 2 heavyweight fight. That's this Saturday, I believe, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, got to fight this Saturday.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Another UFC event to look forward to. Be Live, over to you, buddy.
All right. Well, let me go ahead and take it on home real quick by doing what I do best, and that is pissing off the money man, Scottie D. and this time I'm going to do it in what I've done in recent weeks. I'm going to highlight and recap the fan controlled football league.
For the love of God.
And
it's got to be over by now. It's got to be over.
Yeah, and yes, this season has come to its conclusion.
Oh, how sad.
With the Wild Aces beating the Glacier Boys 46-40 to become the inaugural Fan Control Football League champions. And what I would like to do is also just give a couple little tidbits and notes about the Fan Control Football League that you might not have known about. The players that participate in the Fan Control Football League are paid anywhere between $400 to $750 plus room and board, while coaches get paid $3,500 a month with the housing and meal plans. So
a month, $3,500 a month for a season that lasts 1 month.
Yeah. 2 months. It was a 6-week long season. But I bring good news that the CEO of Fan Control Football, Sarab Faroudi, confirmed this month actually, that the league plans to play 2 seasons a year, one in the spring and one in the fall. And they have plans to expand to 20 teams by the 5th year. So fan control football is a thing to stay. And since Scottie D believes that nobody else watches this, week 1 of fan control football garnered up to 750,000 views, and week 5 had over 2 million views.
Wow.
So it is growing, and you're going to see more of the Fan Control Football League and highlights from your boy, part owner of the Beast, the offensive coordinator, your boy, the almighty, B Live. Did he leave?
Well, B Live messed around and became the owner of a fantasy football team. See what you did? You're live on air. We made Scottie D mad, and he took off. Scottie D, don't let this get to you. That does it for another action-packed edition, wild, zany, and crazy version of the Sports Bros Podcast, episode 101. See what I did there? 101. Yep, of the Sports Bros Podcast. And then we got Scottie D. What did your shirt say? Back in the Berg.
Yeah, but it was backwards in the middle segment.
Hey, but it's all good though, Scottie D, because we're rolling live and the people, they probably won't know. They might not care. But anyways, thank you once again for listening and watching the Sports Bros Podcast. To our Zoom viewers or to our viewers on our YouTube channel, we're going to wave at you because we want to see what's going on. And shout out to Terrible Pete Talansky. We've been seeing him commenting on there as well, too. And also shout out to Trey Dizzle. Trey Dizzle had to undergo a procedure today. He's one of our favorites on the Choices of the Voices. Brother, we miss your foolishness. You take care of yourself. And yeah, man, if you need us, just let us know, man. The Sports Bros are here for you. And with that being said, Scottie D, where can they find you?
I was tweeting again this weekend. I was tweeting on the old Twitter machine. So you can find me on Twitter. It's the little @ thing.
Yeah, it's called
Money
a handle.
Donnelly.
It's called a handle, Scott, a handle.
Handle thing, squiggly handle @Money Donnelly. And catch me on Facebook. Maybe I might be on the old Candygram one of these days. Or Instacart. Yeah.
No.
Maybe we'll get on Instacart one of these days, but for now it's just Facebook and the Twitter machine.
Instacart is how you get your groceries delivered to you.
Right.
And
yep.
I by the way, I highly recommend it. Money Donnelly on the Twitter machine, the tweets and the whatnots. When it comes to me, you can find me at the house working from home. Feels good. Restaurant retirement party information coming up soon because that's about as I want to celebrate it. But when it comes to the Sports Bros Podcast, we have various social media sites that you can follow us on. Our Facebook like page, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You can just search us, the Sports Bros Podcast. We are available on all
YouTube
major sites. Yes,
I know that one.
You know YouTube. Nice. All right. When it comes to yours truly, you can follow me on Twitter. Let's see what I think my Twitter is. My Twitter, I don't even remember. You know what? I'll figure that out for the next episode.
Do we still have MySpace?
No, we do not. We do. No more MySpace.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it was a simpler times. But yes, hit me up on Instagram, especially. I do remember that one. Is this be your boy? Be live, no eyes. So THSBEYABOYBLIV to the E. Just be live, not to the. Don't you know what I meant? Anyway, Eddie, just cut it out.
What about your pager? Give him your pager number.
281-330-8004. No, that's not it.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones.
Oh man. Eddy Kool, Amtrak this thing. Let's take it on home.
All right, chugga, choo choo. And how many chuggers before you go choo choo? I think it's 4, but either way, that's neither here nor there. I go by the name of Eddy Kool, aka the HOC, up in this thing here at the Sports Bros Podcast. The head of creative is B-Live is over here counting his chuggers and his choo-choos. You can find me in all of the aforementioned Sports Bros Podcast social media platforms. Check me out on Twitter at The Real Eddy Kool. Also, show some love to the Sports Bros Podcast YouTube channel. We got all kind of stuff coming on there. All kind of stuff. Just get ready. That's all I'm gonna say. Just get ready. We still got March Madness going on. Check me out on the Sports Me app at SportBro19. That's coming soon also as well too. I got to get back on there. I've been away, fellas, but I'll be back better than ever. We also have, believe it or not, 2 WordPress accounts, but I think one WordPress account is going to be for articles, and the other one is going to be strictly for episodes and everything. So yeah, that's where you can catch us at, and we're all over the place. Fellas, any final words before we get up out of here and watch a little bit of Monday Night Raw and some March Madness and call it a night?
What about our LinkedIn account? Did you give them that?
No, we don't have one yet, but that'll be up shortly.
We might need to get that, but yes, my Twitter and my Instagram are the same. Just be your boy, be live. No I at the beginning. Yes, sir.
Rest in peace, Elgin Baylor, another Laker legend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we lost another one. He was an OG Minneapolis Laker / LA Laker, and then he was an executive for the Clippers organization, if I'm not mistaken. One of the underrated but yet heralded greatest players of all time in the history of the National Basketball Association. With that being said, and in closing, do something nice for yourself, and if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. Don't be an ass. Wear a mask. Be a blessing and not a burden. And take care of each other. And with that being said, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. See, we do this thing now where we leave and all that. Well, hopefully I don't fall out of my chair because I'm in a confined area. Hey, y'all take care. Love you. Bye.
Yes, sir.
You know, man.